TheWaterwhispers. Hi, sweeties. Welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to show you some of the drawings that I made. And if you want to see part 1 and 2, which I filmed last year in January, check the description box down below and you will find the links of the videos. So in the past, I've got quite a bit of questions from you guys, from some of you that wanted to know what kind of pencils and fine liners I use and what kind of paper I use. So let me start by showing you that before you fall asleep. So the tools that I use are a ruler. I got this one that I use in some of my drawings. I don't use rulers very often. Most of them are freestyle. I use a pencil, which is this one, a Zentangle pencil, which came in a Zentangle kit. And I have different fine liners from Micron. This is 0.3 millimeters. This is 0.8. This is 0.5, 0.1, and Pigma Graphic 1. These are the ones that I used for the drawings I'm about to show you. And the paper that I use is A5 format. Mixed media. Canson extra large. The Canson company made this, and it's nice thick paper. The fine liner doesn't bleed through the paper, and it's perfect for drawing. And it has a line here where you can just rip off the paper without damaging it. And that's what I've been making my drawings on. This one is not finished yet. This one is done in with just regular pencil and coloring pencils. So now that you know what kind of tools I use, I would like to show you some of the drawings that I've made up until so far. So the last video I did was in January 2016, so I have a lot of catching up to do with you guys when it comes down to the artwork I've created. So this is the first drawing I created on that paper. The previous ones that I showed in other videos are made on dollar store yellow paper, unfortunately. And if you're interested in seeing these, check out the links down below this video. So I'm going to get my pointer for this. this drawing is just some leaves that I freestyled with a piece of a ribbon that just swirls its way through the leaves with some little shapes and little rings and little thingies here and there. And then I made some decorational shapes here and there. So this is the first drawing I made on this paper, and I still had to get used to the new fine liners and this type of paper, which I'm actually really happy about. So I continued to use that specific paper for the rest of the drawings I'm about to show you. So then we have this one, which is an eye. I started out with the middle, and then I just started to create shapes and lines around it. And then eventually, when this part was done, I decided to draw a nose on this side. But the funny thing is you can also turn around the drawing, and it pretty much still looks like an eye, except for the eye socket is upside down and the eyelashes. Obviously, the top eyelashes are longer than the bottom ones, so this is how it's meant to be seen from the perspective I drew it from. And yeah, this was very experimental. I had no idea what I was really doing. I just put my hand on the paper, and this is what came out, which is, that's pretty much how I do most of my drawings. I would say about 95%. There's a flower on this side. So yeah, this is my eye. Not my eye, but the eye that I drew. And this is a drawing that I did a tutorial on in one of my previous videos from last year. I will post a link of this one down below as well. This drawing is honestly very, very simple. Don't get me wrong. Anybody, in my opinion, can draw, and you can definitely make this as well if you like. It's a lot more simple than it looks. It looks pretty complicated. It looks like a line illusion with all these nice shapes. So if you want to know how to do this, check out the link down below. And then I created this one. And when I drew this, I had a well in mind. My idea was to draw the bottom of a well with the walls around it. And I decided to make the circle first. I think I used something in my room that had the shape of a circle. I just put that in the middle. And then I hand drew these lines. If you look closely, you can see that they're not 100% perfect, so I didn't use a ruler for that. And then I just decided to start filling these in. And because I wanted to make it look like a wall, I filled it in with these little lines. An average drawing takes about 8 to 12 hours to finish, depending on how complex the shapes are that I use in the drawing. So for for this one, I just decided to stay symmetrical. So I did the same on this side as I did on that side. And I did the same thing here and there with some leaves around it. So that is my well. Obviously, you can see whatever you would like to see in my drawings. Art is very subjective, in my opinion, very subjective. So, whatever you see in it is your imagination. And for this one, I decided to be somewhat symmetrical again. I did not measure this out, as you can see. So here I just started with 2 curves, and then I drew this part in the middle, and then the lines on the inside. And after that I started to draw some more curves on both sides. And that's when I started to fill it in. So I started with this flower that you also saw in the eye drawing. Then I colored this in black with circles. And then I did the line illusion on this side. And another pattern on this side. And then I just started to fill in one side first. I did this side first. I really like these ones. They look like little plants. And once this side was finished, I started to fill this one in. And my goal was to use the same patterns on each line. But it was not, I wasn't trying too hard to get it like exactly symmetrical. And then we had this one in the middle left, this shape. So I just decided to fill that in with another plant, and all these little bubbles or little tiny circles are supposed to be the air around it. So that was that. I don't even know how to call that. It's just my imagination. And then I created this drawing. And this drawing was inspired by the line illusion as well. But the imagination I had for this was a drawing that my dad made that used to hang in our living room. And this drawing has a very similar feel to the drawing that my dad made a long time ago. That used to hang in our living room, and this drawing represents simplicity for me. And I used a ruler for this. And then I created this one. It's a bit hard to get it full frame. But this is supposed to be the ocean, and I drew this on printer paper. My first printer paper video, or not video, my first printer paper drawing with a big sea star in the middle, and then some other sort of sea creature that I don't know what it is of, with some bubbles on the side and some water drops with some bigger bubbles. So for me, this was kind of like a beach themed drawing, with this being the ocean this side. And then this is supposed to be like the waves while they move from the ocean to the land. How they flow back and forth, forth and back, back and forth. And then I wanted to make something completely different. So I created this one. This is also a shape that I found in my room that I used to I just put that on the paper and I drew around it, and I started with the middle one. I started with this shape first. And then I decided to draw another square around it. And because it was in the middle of the paper, I decided to make two more. One on each side. So I filled this one in first, starting from the middle outward. Pretty symmetrical again. And then I created this one. It's more like, I don't know, just tribal, fiery type of shapes. And then I made this one, which was also inspired by the drawing that my dad made that used to hang in our living room. My dad's drawing also had this in there with the black in the middle and white around it. So yeah, this one came out pretty nice. The space between the bottom is bigger than here from this point to the top. I did that on purpose. I think it might look nice when you would put this in a frame. So I wanted to try something new, something different again. And that's when I created this one. The word peace came to mind when I drew this, so I wrote the word peace first. Peace. And after that, I drew all of these little I just decided to draw this pattern around it. And then I filled in the letters. And the person that gave me the inspiration to do this one is ASMR by Sophie, because she does rock painting. So I kind of tried to make it on the size of a big rock. And I would really like to do some rock painting in the future myself. So, yeah, just a word, peace. And then after that, I saw a movie about spaceships. So I decided to draw my own spaceship. Doesn't look anything like a spaceship to some of you probably, but to me this was just, I don't know, this is the spaceship shape that I had in mind, with 3 chambers. And the point of it is that this would be in the ground down, and then this is like some bushes and flowers and just random tribal plants. And then if it lifts up, it comes out like this and it takes off to space. So this is supposed to be like metal plates, but you could also see a wooden pattern in here, like wooden planks. And then in every room there is something going on. this is the main frame where everything happens. And then these two rooms do the same thing. And then all these little dots are air. I've never, ever made this many dots in my life. I have no idea how many dots this is in total, but I do know that it took me a full 3 hours to make all these dots, and at the end of that day, after I was done doing the dots, I was completely dotted out. I was so done. My hand even hurt because of it. And then these are all these little orbs. Just floating in the air around it. And again, with this one, I tried to keep it pretty symmetrical, but if you look close, you will be able to see that it's freestyled and that it's not exactly symmetrical. So yeah, I just wanted to experiment with this imaginary spaceship shape. And then I felt like something else again, like a different shape, so I decided to draw 2 circles. And there was a big break in between the first circle I made and the second circle. I drew this first circle at the beginning of this year, and then throughout the summer, because I've enjoyed the weather so much and I was spending a lot of time outside, I did not draw for the entire summer pretty much, and then I started picking up drawing again. Let me remember when that was. About 2 months ago. And that's when I drew the second circle. And for the second circle, I had love in mind. That's why I filled it in with all of these little hearts. I started from the outside and just spiraled all the way inside the circle. And this one, I had a portal or a tunnel in mind. So I just wanted to experiment with the spiral shape. And because I wanted to keep the spiral theme, I decided to incorporate that in the second circle as well. And as you might be able to see, the circles are not perfect because I just hand drew them with pencil first. And then I went over it with the fine liners. And I used pretty thick fine liners for these parts. And for these little oval looking thingies, I used a finer fine liner, just like the details. That's what I usually do. I usually use thicker fine liners for the outside. The outer area, like this one, I used fine liner number 1 for the outside. The 1mm thick fine liner. And then I used fine liner number 5 and 3 to fill it in. 0.5 and 0.3 millimeters. So this drawing was a long-term project because I started this drawing, the outer shape of it, the sketch with pencil. I made that last year, February 2016. And then this was sitting in my sketching book for a long, long time. So I wanted to finish some of the drawings that I started. that's also the reason why I finished when I started drawing again this winter. Technically fall still, I believe, but yeah. That's why I finished this drawing by filling in that second circle. And then with this drawing, the outer lines were already sketched in pencil. And then I decided to pick up drawing again, and then I filled this one in. I have different patterns in each. Some patterns that I've used in previous drawings, and then some patterns that I have not used, like this one and this one, and patterns on this one. So yeah, for this one I had the theme Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in mind, the movie. And if you would be very small and you would stand in a grass field in a fantasy land, you would be able to see the grass up close, and this is what you would see in my imaginary world. So, let's see, I don't know how many drawings I have left, actually. Oh, yeah. So these are some of the drawings I created in the last few weeks. This is one of them. For the first time, I actually made a drawing with fine liner, the fine liner 0.1 millimeter, so the thinnest fine liner I have. And I started out with this flower in the middle here. As you might be able to tell, is that I usually start out in the middle and then I work my way out. So I started with this flower, and at first I wanted to fill it up with this pattern around it, and then I decided not to. Then I made this flower, same principle for the middle, but then like some leaf kind of shape around it. And then I made another one on this side. And then I decided to create these two, which are the same. And then I made this one, which looks slightly different. And then I made these little leaf-looking things around it, and I wanted to keep this one a little bit more spacious, so you have a lot of white in between. And then I just decided to fill these in here and there with like a white leaf in between. And then I decided to do something completely different again. It's still called the Zentangle style, but I wanted to create something very 3D-like, so I drew a room. I started out with this square, and I definitely used a ruler for this one. And then I drew these two lines down. In high school, I studied how to draw in perspective, and this is the middle point. So I drew a little point here, and then from here, I took the ruler and I measured everything out from that point, like this, including the lines here on the side. Oh, a little bit down, like that, and that's how I drew all the lines. And at first, I wanted to make this wall, symmetrical to this wall. But because I did this drawing in parts, I started out with the middle part. I drew these windows in here. And then I started to fill this in once that was done, I did this wall. And once that was done, I did this wall. And I just wanted to make it different. So I came up with this design. And because I wanted to not like make it too full, I decided to keep this pattern in the middle very simple again. The pattern that you've seen in a few of my other drawings that I just showed you. And then I decided to draw a wooden floor on the bottom as the floor here. So these are some doors and windows that will lead to wherever your imagination wants to bring you. So yeah, this was honestly a very complicated drawing. And this was also one of the first times that I actually did not want to mess up. With most of my drawings, I don't really put too much thought into it. Like, whatever comes out, comes out. But with this drawing, I really wanted to try and do it precise, so I kept the inside symmetrical. And then these walls are a bit different on both sides, with patterns I haven't used in any of the other drawings. So I finished this not too long ago, actually. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen most of these drawings on Facebook. This is a drawing I still need to finish. I ended the video that I made in January 2016 with that drawing, and I still haven't come around to finish it. I have some more drawings here in the back that I still want to finish. It's about 6 or 7 different drawings. And then I have this one, which is very, very different again. But this drawing has 7 animals hidden in it. It has 7 different animals, and 2 of the animals have a copy in them. So 7 different animals, and then from 2 of the animals in this drawing, I put 2 copies in them. And yeah, what I had in mind with this, I actually started on the inside here as well. It's kind of hard for me to even see how I started because there are so many lines. But I started out with this shape here in the middle. Just follow the pencil. That was the shape I started with, and then I started to fill it in. And once I did that, I started to draw everything else around it. So, if you follow me on Facebook, then you already know what animals are hidden in this drawing. But please don't give it away for anybody else. If you are able to find the animals, please comment down below if you're not asleep by now. And please let me know what animals you can find in this drawing. So, I hope that this was an enjoyable video for you. I have about 28 videos, or 28 drawings, I mean. Most of them I showed in this video, but like I said, if you enjoy my art videos, then please check the comment section down below this video for more drawing videos. And please comment down below with the animals that I hid in this drawing. videos, I will post the answers with where the animals are hidden. So yeah, this is my first drawing in which I decided to hide some animals, so use your imagination. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. And I would like to send you a very comfortable and energetic and relaxing night. And I will see you again in a new video soon. Bye, sweetie.